showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
Juki got the sauce, bitch.
All right. What is going on, y'all? What is going on? We are here in the second episode of 2021. Yeah, man. I'm glad to be back to talk about what's been going on for the week. I am your host, Nova Phoenix, on GCOM Radio, on iHeartRadio, and we are back to give my own insights on what's going on in the world, what's going on in America. Let's get right to it because I got a lot of information to share. Let's see. I'm not gonna time the first one. I'm just gonna flow. I don't want to stick to time. I just want to get my thoughts off. In the other segments, I will time it. We got a lot of new music too. I'm gonna do a throwback. I didn't do a throwback last show, but I'm doing a throwback of one particular artist that I played last week, and I love this song. And to me, this is a smash hit single. Oh man, it's let me tell you, they're themed in the 80s, and this song is just bomb. And to me, put in the right places, it could just like blow up on radio. I'm telling you. And if they did a video for this, if I was directing this video to this particular song, I would have so much fun with it. And matter of fact, the Wonder Woman 1984 movie, if the planet, stars, and moons aligned, if Patty Jenkins got a hold of this, it would have fit perfectly in Wonder Woman 1984. But I'll play that joint a little later. So, all right, so we're going to get into it. Opening mentions. All right, so Dr. Dre, man, as everybody knows, he had a brain aneurysm, and everybody was concerned. But it turns out that he's okay. He's home now, chilling. Ice-T visited him, and who knows how that came about. And I'm just glad he's healthy. He looks like a fairly healthy guy, but you could work out and do all the health things that you want, methods and behavior and scheduling your eat and your intake, and work out like twice a day, and things do happen to people. So hopefully they can get to the root cause or try to figure out what triggered this. And I wish Dr. Dre another 25, 30 years of life, because he is young, man. The brother is young, so he's healthy, man. That's that's the most that counts. And I hope, and matter of fact, hearing what happened between him and his wife, that was another thing. God damn. It seems like to me, you, $2 million. Woo! I talked about this on the show. I'm like, God damn, what is going on? And he agreed to it. He agreed to pay the ex-wife $2 million. Jeez Louise, I tell you, man. But, he'd probably sit down with his accountant and was like, all right, let me see what could work out. And I guess he can pay $2 million a month. I don't understand. And they always use this excuse to say, well, they has a match with her current lifestyle. I'm like, wait a second. You can still have a pretty plush lifestyle if you got like $250,000. The kids is taken care of, right? Say they're a little younger. I'm sure his kids is like, what, 18, 19? I don't know. Their school is taken care of. Clothes, they never had to worry about clothes or anything like that. So she doesn't really need to deal with, the kids. This is about her now. And I don't understand what $2 million has to match what life. What does she want to build her own like Emerald City? I don't get it. It's like you can still get by with $250K. But, and I guarantee you the next boo she gonna huddle up with, they ain't getting married. And that dude's gonna be like, we ain't got to get married. I'm hoping you ain't thinking about that, because you getting a clean $2 million every month. So it takes care of you and me. So I know my man, whoever she gets up with, ain't gonna be rushing to get married. And I guess if I was her, I wouldn't be rushing to get married either. But damn, $2 million smacks. Oh, okay. All right. And the other thing, in the last episode, I know I got on old Jim Clyburn of South Carolina. I know I got on him, and sometimes he says some crazy stuff that I have to put my 2 cents into. But you know what? I saw an interview with him on, I think it was CNN or something like that, and he was talking to a reporter that how during that siege of the Capitol building, that his secondary office was broken into, and the only way that could have happened because he has the primary office with his nameplate on the door, but somehow on another floor his office got broken into, and I found that interesting. Of course, everybody feels that it's a little suspicious how an unmarked office on another level was broken into instead of the one with the nameplate on it. So hopefully they could come once a proper investigation is done by the FBI and all parties involved, that they could get down to the nitty gritty with this. And I don't know, it's looking real. Let me tell you, it's looking real crazy, but I'll get into that later. So I never wish ill will towards Jim Clyburn. I disagree with him on some things, but never death or him getting hurt. That's a terrible thing. Next one, Republicans, man. The Republicans are acting exactly as everyone thought they would. They don't want to vote on impeachment. They didn't do it right now in the last week, and they want to push it off until the new administration comes in, the Biden administration. But now they're also trying to say, hey, maybe he should be pardoned or they shouldn't go down with this. I'm like, what? I mean, like, listen, man, I don't understand, man. I don't understand, and I do understand. I think it's more, when I say I don't understand, it's just a frustration that regardless that the monster that they created that was straight up broke down the door of the Capitol building and took over the damn Capitol building and threatened their own lives that they would get it, that now they're beyond a certain line where they can start pushing the same narrative as they did in the last 4 years. And you think they would think like, man, shoot, my own life was, either way, your life is in danger. Either way, so it doesn't make sense. And the reason why I say that, look, before we even get to the life danger, even Lindsey Graham is actually blaming Nancy Pelosi for the break-in and for inadequate security at the Capitol building. I'm like, how boneheaded can you be? But again, they have to push this narrative forward to keep the responsibility off them. And not just the responsibility, but also potential, attention that could lead to charges. Because again, during some of the investigation, preliminary investigation, it shows that there are some arrows is pointed to some people in the Republican Party that they orchestrated some of the break-ins in certain offices and allowing the Capitol Police to do what they did. So of course, Lindsey Graham is deflecting here. And they don't want to lead to these strings to lead back to them. And as far as the rest of the Republicans go, and they're giving the excuse that Republicans are fearing for their lives. Okay. And my thing is, suck it up. Suck it up. I tell you, man. What they gotta fear? What are they gonna fear? They fear that the people, wherever places they go back to in the respective states or counties, whatever like that their life. Listen, me right now as a black man in this country, I've always had to deal with fear. I've always had to deal with fear of losing a job, getting fired from a job for some racist dude. I had to fear from rogue police wanting to kill me or jail me up for something for 25 years on some trumped up charges. I have to fear about adequately being paid so I can provide for my family. I got to fear about dealing with some racist blockheads when I go into a strange place. I got to fear about being able to live a dream for my business. Yeah, that is a real fear of all the obstacles that's put in front of me and how I circumvent that. That's my fear I got to deal with as a black man. I got to deal with my physical harm, and I got to deal with harm that comes in just my quality of life. Welcome to the club, Republicans. Welcome to the club. So fuck off if you're saying that you're dealing with fear. Get out of here. That's what you got to do. That's what comes with the game when you're a leader of your district, of your county. You have to at least make the hard decisions to tell your people, listen, this is not going to go the way you want it to go, and I apologize. And you have to fess up to the ignorance that you've been spewing for the last 4 years and tell them, no, it was a lie. And you know what? And sometimes you got to take it on the chin. If you coming forward with the truth ends up you being voted out, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. You created this monster. We're well past a line of trying to walk things back. No, this is the world you're living in now. You created it. You stirred up the bloody frenzy of this foolishness with all what's going on that you've been supporting President Trump on, and look where you're at now. Now they are foaming at the gums, at the mouth for you as well. You did this. Let me tell you, man, Republicans will be their own inescapable, untimely end because of the exact actions that they're taking, because they can't deal with the truth, and they continue to deal with the nonsense. And the nonsense that they continue to spew, like what Graham is doing and a lot of other Republicans, only creates a more toxic environment. It will be their undoing. And as I said, I'm looking and I'm staying close to the news right now. And, you know, a lot of people are switching parties. Not going to the Democrats, they're becoming independent. A lot of the constituents in other southern states are waking up and they're switching by the thousands. And they're tired of it. They're tired of the games. They're tired. Look, after you may trick people at some degree. At some point in time, you can trick folks. You could trick them for quite a little bit. All right, a large chunk of time. But eventually, people start getting hip to the game. 3-card Monty. They eventually figure out that, oh, you're palming the pebble. I see. Oh, you're palming the bent card. People figure it out. And it's going to be the untimely end of the Republican Party, either by the vicious hordes that you created, or from people just fed up and they say, you know what, I'm done with the Republican Party, I'm out of here. Either they're going to be libertarian or a whole nother party is going to be created. And matter of fact, this is just not Republicans. This could be Democrats too, because if the Democrats keep on playing that game with the Republicans and for their own moderate Dems, they are in danger too. So it's just not y'all Republicans all out there that's listening to my show in America. The Democrats also have to fear the same thing. Because people are looking at people is like a tennis game. People see it going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I just, you know what, I'm done. That's what's happening on both sides. So a lot of these insurrectionists I see has been getting slapped on the wrist. All right. A lot of these, I'm reading news articles. There's certain people that's getting under house arrest. They're walking away. They're getting the charges. Oh my God. It's like taking a feather fan and swatting them across the face. It's like, okay, that's it. Let's go away. Again, that also contributes to the untimely end of the Republican Party. And just, you know, if the government is not smart, what you're doing, you're creating, and it's festering, and they're going to regroup, come together, not right now, but eventually 6 months, 8 months, a year, they're going to regroup, figure out another strategy, and you're going to have the same problem. And as I said before, it may not be the Capitol building, it may be the White House next time. So this, just like COVID gave us a new normal, as far as everything, all aspects of our life in this modern society that we live in, this is a new normal now. It's not going away. It will not go away January 6th. It will not go away during the inauguration. It is going to be here for the next couple years, Democrats and Republicans, and you're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to nip it in the bud, get right down to the source. Now, the other funny thing is, there was a video that was released, and here again, it adds to the funniness. that this dude, he was actually, I saw it online. He's the chairman of the New African Black Panther Party. He turned on a video of his phone. I don't even know what state it was in, but the FBI, 3 FBI agents visited his home in plainclothes, of course. And they were actually asking him questions about, of course, the siege on the Capitol building and if in any way he was involved. And of course, this dude was irate and he was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was filming in and he was trying to get their names, and they were smart enough not to give their names because the first dude kind of said his first name and gibbled it up his last name, and the other 2 just gave their titles. And that's it. So he was telling him, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with the Trump party. I ain't with that dude for obvious reasons. He's not with them if they were smart enough. And he had to walk them out of his own domicile. Now, come on, man. FBI is playing games, man. Who is the direct lead agent on these 3 gentlemen? You damn well know, and when you do your homework at the office, you damn well know that this dude ain't got nothing to do with it. That we already have a profile on the people. There's goddamn hours of video, audio, everything. These fools even tape themselves. You know who to go to. Now, if you have a list of folks that, all right, I gotta say I did this on paper, then you gotta address yourself as such. Listen, I know you ain't got nothing to do with this, but I gotta do this paperwork, for my own superior officer. No, he's gonna ask him questions about, come on, man. This is what I'm talking about, how they're going to try to deflect away from the real culprits and start using this, what's the word they say? Political extremists or something like that. This is where they're going to start trying to segue into political movements in black communities and brown communities. I swear the switcheroo, man. Oh my God, the switcheroo is crazy. I hope they're sharing it now on social media, so I'm hoping that this gets back to their office and other news outlets pick it up, independent media and also mainstream, and see how you are not doing any favors in this investigation of trying to quell insurrection and sedition by leading yourself to dead ends. Come on, man. Stop it. Crazy. Yo, check this out. System of a Down. System of a Down's lead singer's name is Serj Tankian. And it's funny, I just found it, of course, online. He has a doc coming out. It's called Truth to Power. I can't say I'm a hard System of a Down fan, but I love their music whenever it plays. I listen to it. Great talent, all of them. Big ups to System of a Down. And this documentary is about the genocide of the Armenian people in 1915, but also Armenia's own corrupt politicians talking about that, trying to get freedom of justice in Armenia. So it comes out February 19th, 2021. Guys, I suggest ladies too. Check that out, man. It looks interesting, man. The first question that they asked Serj was, you think, what was it? The question was, do you feel that music has an influence on changing politics or something else or other? And they asked him, you've been doing this for like X amount of years, 15, 20 years. And he was like, yeah. He says, do you think music, how do you feel everything is going on? Something to that. But it was real direct, man. And it really stumped Serj. And he's like, damn, word. If music does change politics and have a major influence, I've been doing this for X amount of years. But, it was a great opening to that trailer, man. And I was like, wow, that hit me too. But I suggest everybody check out that documentary. I'm definitely going to see it. They actually, what else? I'm looking at my notes here, and sometimes I don't freaking. Sometimes I'm like, yo, what's going on here? Okay, I'm sorry. That was actually, I moved that. Hey, one last thing, man. I know that I don't speak about sports. I don't really get into sports a lot, and I do. I can't look. I watch sports, but I'm not as like hardcore follower as I used to be. I was even say hardcore because I was always, my head was in the business, and I always push things to the side when I had my own personal goals to meet, short term and long term. So and it used to get to me because cats used to, my own friends was like, yo, you don't know this guy, you don't know this guy. And I feel bad because I'm like, damn, I should know him. But then after a while, I started thinking, hey, listen, I don't know him. I'm like, yo, listen, my mind and my goals and my aspirations are someplace else. I'd rather do that than worry about what athlete is getting money in his pocket. And I'm like, after a while, I just started accepting it. And I'm like, nah, bro. But in terms of this show, I do want to add a sports element. At some point in 2021, I'll have, not me, but because I don't know shit no shite from, who's playing on what team, especially lately in basketball and football and all the sports. But I do watch it. Trust me, I do watch it, but I just don't know who's who nowadays. But I'll try to bring in somebody that's really skilled in sports that just wants to have like a short segment, 10 minutes or 5-10 minutes talking about, what's going on in the sports world, on the court and off the court. And let's see what happens, man. I would love to do that. I think it would be dope. Anything I have for these opening mentions? I don't think I have anything else. Wow, it was shorter than I expected it to be. All right, so we're going to get into some music that I have for you guys. So what I'm going to do here, as I said at the opening, that there's a special replay of this group that I'm really feeling. They're called the Lyfers, man. This song is It's a Shame. It's dope. They got an 80s theme. On their IG profile, they just share artists of the 80s. That's their thing. That's their shtick. And I played it before. It's a shame, and it's a banger, man. If it gets an opportunity to get on radio, it will take off. I'm telling you. And right after that, the Lyfers, man. Check out man Squablz. I played one of his songs before. Shout out to his manager Joe Jack, man. He hit me up that should get this song played on the show. His song is called What's Crackin'. It's the Jack Harlow remix. You guys should hear this right along the Lyfers. So let's start with the Lyfers and get it started, and then we'll get into man Squablz with his song What's Crackin'. All right, I'll be right back, folks. All right.
Y'all check it out, y'all.
Here's a bonus. You heard it before.
Yeah.
Here we go again. Serving that heat.
Now turn it up.
GCOM Radio.
Oh, it's a shame. What a damn shame. You don't get the love. The love that had you rushing home to the arms of the man you love. Baby, oh, it's a shame. What a damn shame. You don't get the love. You can't deny it's what you're missing. You can tell that I got plenty of. Like, baby, I've seen it all before. First I wasn't sure that I get in, she pull me in and made me scream for more. What I'm trying to say is that I got what you're looking for. You ain't gotta look no more. Baby, you ain't gotta look anymore. Oh, it's a shame. You know it. Baby, you ain't gotta look anymore. Oh, it's a shame. What a damn shame. You don't get the love. The love that had you rushing home to the arms of the man you love. Baby, oh, it's a shame. What a damn shame. You don't get the love. You can't deny it's what you're missing. You can tell that I got plenty of. Like, baby, I've seen it all before. First I wasn't sure that I get in, she pull me in and made me scream for more. What I'm trying to say is that I got what you're looking for. You ain't gotta look no more. Baby, you ain't gotta look anymore. Oh, it's a shame. You know it. Baby, you ain't gotta look anymore.
It's GCOM Radio
I am one of the flyers.
on iHeartRadio.
What's crackin'? Came in the game, niggas ain't know what happened. Ain't for the games, I'm insane with the graphics. When it come to giving them the pain, I'm an addict. I'm laughing, ain't nobody really in my lane, I'm passing. Even if a nigga in the lane, I'm slashing. The way a nigga spit it, you might need a closed caption. And Wango my demons, gotta keep going, you know the procedure. A lot of spoken, but my flow undefeated. I gotta go and killing folks in my leisure. Talk a lot, but you a joke, I can see it. And I'm unfazed by the tough talk. It just got a nice ring, I don't do the hyping, I just do the right thing, then the fun starts. I'm in a different dimension, every bar that I spit is exquisite. I'm working till I'm in a different position. Ain't no corona, but this nigga the sickest. Cut the bogus talk, let's get to the business. If you opposing, all you get is diminished. Fuck a ghostwriter, this a goat writing. Major labels ain't gon' get a percentage. As long as I'm still a menace on all of these beats, pull up and annihilate. It's all finna happen in time, not chasing a dime, cause that's how I operate. Know the paper gon' isolate, that's how I dominate. At this time it's a lot at stake. Don't shade on my moniker, thinking they stop and play. All they can do is commentate. Cause a nigga sharp like Shan, nigga niggas build Cartwright. I lost my man, as you niggas get frostbite. Thinking it was all nice till I get up on mics and cause quite damage. Round of applause, profoundly apart. I've been down for the cause like Hamlet. Looking for the ball, man, these niggas really looking like Lamar, cause they all might scramble. Hey, came in this game with no gimmicks. Niggas be praying I don't give them the pain, there's no scrimmage. Still on my way to more figures. And if you lame, you know my pinnacle Wayne, there's no ceilings. No Bob Vance, but they still gonna feel us. They understand that I'm just one of the illest. Any beat I heat it up like a skillet. I know I'ma be the one they remember. Nickel.
This is GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. Come join, be a Lyfer. Practice dollar power and build financial independence.
Oh, man. Yeah, man. Like I said, that was the Lyfers. And that song was called It's a Shame. And right up behind the Lyfers was Squablz with his new joint called What's Crackin' as the Jack Harlow remix. Again, shout out to Joe Jack for hitting me up with it. Talented young brother, man. Look into these two artists and these two acts, and check out their IG on once I post this. Yeah, you'll thoroughly enjoy both of these two acts. So, all right, so we'll get things going. Before we do, you know what we do at the beginning of this second segment? I get into business of the week. All right, let's get into that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Bringing you the business of the week and its innovative founders. It's what you've been waiting for. For that special evening or just wanting to flaunt your finest accessories to go with your look, you make your presence felt in the decorative items you so adore. It could be a combination of bracelets, necklaces, rings, and earrings. The look of metal, wood, plastic, stones, shells, leather, whatever. Whatever you feel for the day, you want to make a statement. This is you, the cool, the rebel, the fancy. This personal expression is something that's been around since humans first understood the social impact of the shiniest. With this particular brand, Bantu of London, this company presents particular body jewelry inspired from different African cultures. Kenya, Namibia, Angola, any look you want to show. Bantu of London has something for your eye. Portia and Buyisa brings their vision in gemology for your liking and satisfaction. Lyfeblood.com would like to salute Bantu of London for channeling the ancestors through their work. Let's go and accessorize. Make our point in the ensemble we adorn. All right, man. That was business of the week. All right, so we get into this, so I'll time this. I don't think I'll we'll have to worry about the time here. I think I can get through this fairly simple. Let's see if I could do this show in an hour and a half, right? All right, let's do this. So this one is like movie review, right? There was a lot of movies before when I was on vacation that I was like, wow, that's dope. And I just wanted to give my personal shout outs to and getting into the movie. A couple of them, and there's going to be a part 2 because there's a few that I also want to talk about, but then it was just like extend the show too long. So I'll get into, there'll be a part 2 next week. So this is part 1. So a few, man. I got 3 movies I'm just going to do quick run-throughs on how I felt about it and how it was great. I think it will be Soul, Mandalorian, and what was that? Oh, I'll just give it Soul and the Mandalorian. I'll get into, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So, all right. So, what do I feel about Soul? Everybody at this point has seen Soul. I think it was a beautiful movie. Oh man, shout out to Pixar. They did a job.
on this one. And Jamie Foxx was the lead character. There was a lot of, you know what? And it's funny, right? I didn't get the characters of the show. So let's go into Soul Movie cast. And there were a couple of voices that I did recognize, and there were other voices that I didn't. So who the hell was Paul in the movie? I don't even know. Jamie Foxx, of course, played Joe Gardner. Tina Fey, I didn't even know Tina Fey played 22. Richard Ayoade, he played the Soul Sorter. I guess he was the dude that was miscounted or something. Yeah, I thought that was great. I love that. Felicia Rashad was Libba, man. I did not know. Questlove was Curly. Angela Bassett was Dorothea. I was like, where? I have to listen. I saw the movie twice, so I'm gonna watch it a third time. It was that good for me. Alice Braga, I picked out from the get-go. She was the other Celestial that greeted Joe Gardner, and she was the one that said, "Quiet coyote, quiet." I knew right away that was Alice Braga. I was like, yo. Graham Norton was Moonwind. Get out of here. Rachel House is Terry. Who else is playing? And there was a couple of, but there. Oh yeah, and Donnell Rollins was the barbershop dude. He was Dez. Donnell Rollins kept that on the quiet. You know, Donnell Rollins, his mouth don't stop running. So I'm surprised he didn't let that one slip out. But yeah, it was a dope movie, man. I love animation. I love CGI. I love how these artists, their attention to detail when it comes to the light, how the light cascades on the characters, the main characters, and the background and the foreground, the colors, seeing the texture. And I love seeing when they actually animate in CGI black people's hair, when it's an afro. To me, it looks, oh my God, it looks beautiful. The colors are rich, everything about that, art-wise, as far as, that's why I love CGI. I can't, man, I'm telling you, man, CGI to me is like a godsend. So everything from start to beginning, from the beginning to end was dope. The storyline was great. The storyline, of course, was, hey, look, folks, again, this is going to be spoilers. It's going to, if I throw in spoilers here, if you haven't seen it, please, I don't know what to do, but I'm going to talk. So just letting you, I'm forewarning you, I'm going to probably drop some things if you haven't seen anything about this movie. So the storyline was great. It went over the heads of kids because it was talking about existentialism. It was talking about death, life, purpose. So things that probably a 6-year-old, 7, 8-year-old probably would not get. But I dug it because, of course, as an adult, I get all those concepts. But that's why it's good when you do a cartoon or CGI from Pixar or from Disney, that you got to add in like the jokes, the slapstick comedy, images that kids can smile along with while keeping the overall theme of the movie for the adults. And you know what, it's funny, I don't think any cartoon movie, Pixar, has ever gotten that wrong. I don't think there was one that, I can't think of any that really didn't, because what was that other movie with the trolls, the music trolls? That movie, that's a great example, right? So music trolls movie, and I can't remember, Troll World Tour, yeah. There was a lot of songs in there that kids is not gonna get. There was songs in there that was going back to like what, the 1990s? To 2000, something like that. Them kids don't understand that. And I'm like, oh snap, that's a dope. I remember that joint. Kids not gonna remember that, but you hope that we will replay the movie, and these kids will memorize these songs, and then you go to them as parents and say, hey, you know what? This is the original, and that's a great connection between generations. But again, I didn't have any problem with this movie. Anything that it was about. When I was reading the reviews, I did not understand why some people, especially in particular black folk, had issues with this. Like, I read online that they said they thought it was a jazz movie. I'm like, what? Did you see the trailer? Because what? I don't know how that missed you. That went over your head. Some people had an issue because this is the thing with movies and CGI. I've noticed, and a lot of people, I thought it was just me, but I've noticed that when it comes to making CGI cartoon flicks and the central character is black, they tend to change this character into other characters, into animals. Like, I understand, like, you know, there's a number of movies, I can't say it right now off the top of my head, but it's I'm kind of seeing a pattern here. I'm like, why we keep, and then it, you know, I thought it was just me, but then I've watched reviews, and then one particular reviewer was like, why do they keep on changing these characters into other than what they, I'm like, thank you, I'm not the only one seeing this. I don't understand. Like, yo, make the character play him or herself throughout the duration of the film. And that's what I thought, because I was going into watching Soul. I'm like, oh man, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is dope. And then all of a sudden it becomes this ghost-like figure. I'm like, okay, here we go again. But then, you know, as you watch the movie, you start to understand what happens. He dies, him trying to get back and live out his dream as a jazz musician, because he did, he was a jazz teacher for a while, a music teacher. And he finally got his big break with this jazz band. And he dies. He dies right before he can live his life to be what he always wanted to be, a jazz artist, you know, in a well-known jazz band. And of course, the whole movie is about him trying to come back, get back to earth, so he can live being a jazz artist. And he gets back with the help of some soul before. You know, before people become babies or flesh and blood human beings, there's these souls. And I guess they accidentally fall into the hole going towards Earth, and all of a sudden they do the body switcheroo. And that's a movie concept that, you know, we're not new to. I've seen that played out many a times in other movies. So the woman's soul is in, I'm saying Jim Carrey. Is in what's his name, Joe Gardner's body, and Joe Gardner is in the cat. So it was like, oh, okay, so all right, so technically you do have him playing, it's just the woman is in his body. And then of course all this craziness happens, these funny events, and him trying to get to the jazz club. So I see that. Hopefully the next big movie that comes out, they can listen to the people, listen to the fans, and just have a black movie with a major cast, majority of the cast being black, that they don't have to do this body switcheroo with animals or some sort of object or something like that, because now it's just getting like predictable. What I didn't like about it, I tried to balance it out. What I didn't like, I liked the movie. I liked the movie overall. There's nothing I didn't like. So that's it with Soul. Go see Soul. It's a dope flick. You haven't seen it, you don't know what you're missing. And I'm going to see it again because I got to see what Felicia Rashad was in on this, and then Angela Bassett. I'm like, who? Hey, what? Mandalorian. Yo, Mandalorian, man. Like, I got to say, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not a Star Wars fan where I will dress up like Darth Vader or go into any of the... Well, if I do ever go to one of a Star Wars event, I'm not going to do the whole... And even if I have to, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I'm not dressing like Darth Vader. I'm not doing it. But I do appreciate the lore. I do appreciate. I've seen Star Wars when I was a kid, of course. When I was in the 80s, that by that time they had the VHS cassettes, and me and my brother, man, Star Wars fans. And I was very upset, along with the other Star Wars fans, with the Rey trilogy. And that's the best way I can explain the last trilogy. And they're going, every time people, when I talk about the trilogy, be like, what? Which trilogy? There's so many sets of trilogies. So I call it the Rey trilogy, the last one. And of course, with Rey being the, I don't know, she's a Jedi before she even trains. I was so upset. They just trashed that movie. Rian Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy. It was just a travesty. I don't know what they were trying to do. I gave up Star Wars. I put it down. I was like, it's done. And I felt like that because once Disney bought it and bought it from George Lucas, I was like, it's all corporate now. They don't care about Star Wars It's just property to them and how they can make money off of it. They don't care what happens. And when the Rey trilogy came out, I was like, see? And you know what? I gave the first one a chance. The first movie of the Rey trilogy, I gave that a chance because there was a little bit, some fans was upset with the last trilogy. So they was like, you know what, for a surefire way, let's do it in remembrance of Star Wars, the first Star Wars with Mark Hamill. So there were a lot of similarities in the first movie of the Rey trilogy. And I was with that. I was like, okay, I understand. It's nostalgic. I'm with it. But then everything after that was like, I was like, yo, what the heck? What the hell is this? And I was just watching it, and let me tell you, I think I went to go see it in the movie theaters, and it was dead silence. Dead silence. People was like, they were aghast. It was like, what? This is how you do Luke? Oh my God. And Mark Hamill, throughout the whole movie, and while they were in production and they were interviewing Mark as Luke Skywalker, Mark was telling them, listen, this is not who Luke Skywalker is. Where are we going with this? And of course, Rian Johnson with his big ass head, ego eyes. He was like, of course, he was just, this is my movie now. And I can see the air of arrogance and just like, yeah, Kathleen Kennedy this is my movie now. And I could just see it. And Mark is a fan. He's not just the actor of Luke Skywalker. He is a genuine fan of Luke Skywalker and the Star Wars lore. And he was telling people, so much so that the executives was like, Mark, calm down. You kind of like, you're belling too much. And, we're trying to do this whole, right up to the end where they were doing the junket. And then there was a particular scene, I think I said this on the show before, after the premiere of it, I guess he didn't see the final cut of the one where he was in, I think it was The Last Jedi. And the reporter was talking with Rian Johnson, and then it zooms in and pans to Mark, and Mark's face was like he saw a ghost. He went totally white. It's like, I think his face is like, this is what you do. I don't think he knew that that's what they were going to do to Luke Skywalker. And yeah, that was messed up. So anyway, I was mind melding with freaking Mark Hamill like this is trash. And a lot of fans were. But let me not, I digress a little bit too much. But it goes into Mandalorian. So the Mandalorian, I'm like, okay, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, George Lucas, they go on this trek to do the Mandalorian, and it is perfect, man. I'm talking about the series, man. From Mando, Baby Yoda, Grief Karga, Quill, I think his name was. He was voiced by Nick Nolte, Cara Dune, Werner Herzog as the client. Let me tell you, Werner Herzog, excuse me, I want to say his name right. I don't know much of his work. I just know the fact that he's done a lot of operas, he's directed, he's acted. To me, Werner Herzog, when he did the opening, I think in the first episode, and how they cut him into the trailer to introduce to the fans, it brought an air of operatic, artful gravitas to the role and to the entire movie. Like, it really, this was not going to be a typical Star Wars movie. So big shout out to Werner Herzog, man. That guy, he brings that energy to the screen. Baby Yoda was a clincher. The cuteness, the youngling of the Force. So even though he's not a youngling, he's like 50 years old, they just age a lot longer. I'm so intrigued, man. Who's he gonna be? How powerful he's gonna become in the Force? How does he exactly age? Will he age? Because he ages so slow, is he still gonna be a baby? Like, I wonder how they're gonna do that. Because what's the growth rate of the species? I don't even know what Yoda is, because I looked it up online, and George Lucas keeps his species like he doesn't really go into depth about Yoda and Grogu as we know him now to be the baby, what species they come from. I think it would be dope whether they do it in a movie or in future Mandalorian or wherever they segue
segue into it with Baby Yoda. Like let's get into the backstory of what this species is. You know, I think it would be dope for Favreau and Filoni to explore that. And I think so. I always saw Star Wars as a heavy film, man. It's an operatic film. I think it goes along the lines of Dune, Dr. Zhivago, The Godfather, Omen, 2001: Space Odyssey. I'm talking about the Planet of the Apes. This can be big if they do it right. It could still be for the kids. Same way, I guess you can say for Disney movies or whatever like that, CGI flicks. As long as you give the action, but I'm telling you, it's like it can be that big. And I say that because, I'm talking with my brother. I'm watching the Clone Wars. Whenever I can, I split my time. So I'm trying to watch the Clone Wars because I hear, because Dave Filoni worked on the Clone Wars, that a lot of characters and storylines could be used in the Star Wars for the Disney Plus, and possibly onto the big screen. Now, so far, I think I'm up into the third season. The middle of the third season. Let me tell you, some of these storylines, I'm like, wait a second, this is for kids? I'm telling y'all, the Clone Wars, when you watch these episodes, the storylines are not for kids. This is like heavy into politics, into espionage, into like people are dying in this thing. Like when I was a kid, ain't nobody was dying in G.I. Joe. Every time a plane blew up, you always saw a parachute coming down. Like nobody died. I'm telling you, watch the old G.I. Joe series, cartoon series. Nobody dies in that movie, but people die in the Clone Wars, from Jedis to the clones to the robots. It's like, it has. You don't know who is going to die. So I think that was hot, and I think there are a lot of characters and storylines where Dave Filoni can literally lift out from his series and put it into Disney Plus on the big screen. I'm telling you, man, the Clone Wars is serious. So big ups to even Dave Filoni for doing the Clone Wars. And Luke Skywalker, the end reaction in Mandalorian season 2, man. I didn't cry. I didn't cry, but I was watching. That was damn near, man. I was watching a lot of the reactions on TV, and I'm like, they got it. Dave, man, I can't give it up. And I'm telling you, Dave and John, and they did it right, along with George Lucas, the godfather of Star Wars. They did it right, because so many people, that's what they wanted to see. Nobody saw, and that's why people were so upset in the Rey trilogy, because Luke Skywalker turned into a punk, and he ditched the Jedi Order. He just squirrels away the last bit of his life as probably a Jedi Master, drinking green milk, space alien milk. I'm like, what? And then he uses Force, which, of course, there's canon of how the Force can be used, and it's okay to introduce new type of abilities with the Force. But the milk was so soured that people were like, wait a second, why is he even doing this with the Force? Like, I ain't know Ghost can catch physical objects. Like Rey threw the lightsaber into the fire when she lit the fire on Temple, and then freaking Luke catches the freaking. I'm like, word, Ghost could do that? So yeah, I was like, and then he uses the Force to force project himself on the other planet in the final battle scene, and because he uses that much energy to force project, he dies. So I was like, it was utter disrespect to Luke Skywalker, and millions and millions of other Star Wars fans agree with me. And to see Luke Skywalker at the end of Mandalorian, after he ended those troops, the super troops, whatever you want to call them, it was a tearjerker, man. And when I was seeing the reactions, I was like, yes, people have not seen Luke Skywalker as the Master Jedi after he defeated Darth Vader up to the point of into his elder years. Now, some people are saying that the Rey trilogy is canon to some degree,
because Kylo Ren did destroy the school, right? And then he understood that Luke Skywalker understood that Kylo Ren was heading towards the dark side, and of course the school burnt down and everything. So certain things I guess you can take if you could salvage from that Rey trilogy, but as far as Luke being what he was, I hope they could bring back Luke Skywalker in another rendition. I mean, they do it with Warner Brothers Batman, so they got a standalone Batman movie, and they got freaking Ben Affleck as Batman. All right, let's do this again, man. It from scratch. Get rid of the Rey trilogy. It's non-canon. Let's do it all over again. Have Luke Skywalker play the Master Jedi in his elder years. Please bring Luke Skywalker back. Please, man. I don't know if he has the energy for it. Mark Hamill ain't. How old is Mark Hamill now? Mark Hamill. Damn. Okay, Mark Hamill's he's still young, 69. He could still play Luke Skywalker, Master Jedi. Yo, please bring him back to Disney Plus, or segue him into another story on the big screen for Star Wars. So as far as I'm taking, the Rey trilogy is non-canon. It's done. It's in the trash. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. So all right. So let's go into Ma Rainey. So Ma Rainey, this is the last one before we get out of here into the next segment. So Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. The acting. Oh man, it was beautiful. Of course, Ma Rainey. That was on Black Bottoms. That was on Netflix. I forgot the director. I gotta give props to the director. I forgot the director's name. Netflix. George C. Wolfe. So George C. Wolfe directs Ma Rainey's Black Bottom for Netflix. He did a bang up job. Big ups to all the actors. I thought, Netflix thinks they slick. I know how y'all Netflix get down. All right, so y'all promote the movie, right? Whatever big cast movie, right, with some pretty quality, high level actors, right? And then when you see the movie, the sets are limited. It's like 2 sets. I'm like, wait a second. Because, and it's not like Netflix don't have money, because they for other movies, they like, man, they like I said before, with Star Wars, they have these huge freaking sets. You know what I mean? So they spend money, all this, relocating, all that. So let's just say probably COVID. I don't know. But this Ma Rainey is just two set movie. But then again, let me back up. There was another movie with Washington. What's her name? Washington movie. Oh man, President Kerry, President's side piece. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I can think of. I can't remember her name. Something Washington. Girlfriend. I forgot the woman director. Oh my God. Writer. Oh, she's a writer, not even a director. She's the head. Kerry Washington. All right, there you go. So Kerry Washington. I'm like, thank God for Google, man, because they help you out. So Kerry Washington, she played in a movie that was about race, and her son went out and got into a situation with a cop, and the majority of the movie is in a police office, in a police headquarters, in the police department headquarters, and it was dope. I liked it. Of course, Kerry Washington, she's a talented actress, and she did her thing. So I'm like, oh, okay. Somewhere like 15, 20, 25 minutes into the movie, I was like, okay, the major setting is going to be right here in the police department. Okay, I'm with it. All right. So I'm going along with it, and I love it, right? So, and then now you have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is in this studio, and there's a basement. So there was only 2 settings. So I'm like, it's a slick way not to spend a lot of money on production, and you know what I mean, get away with a movie with a fairly small production, because you still got to pay like big time actors like Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis. So that was dope.
considering this was an original play, I don't know how the original play goes. And the playwright is by the late August Wilson. In the 80s, he made a bunch of plays along with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. One other famous play was Fences, and that was also recreated too, of course, with Viola Davis and Denzel Washington. I encourage you to see it. It was called Fences, of course. So I believe it was on Netflix, so just check it out. So yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it because at the end of the day, it's the actors that they're trying to, and the story that's trying to be relayed to the audience. Does it hold your attention? Does it hold your eyes? Does it really grab you and pull you into the story? So I was with Ma Rainey. So Chadwick Boseman, I think it was one of his last major roles that he did, and he was superb, man. There was a solo scene in there that he went deep down into the depths of his soul to really pull out that scene, man. It was dope. Oh man, it's so sad to know that this brother is not here anymore, and to see one of his last pieces of work, man, it's crazy. Also, big support out to the surrounding characters. Michael Potts, who played Slow Drag. Glenn Turman played Toledo. Coleman Domingo, he played Color. That brother is from the Walking Dead series. Jeremy Shamos played Irvin, of course. Viola Davis as Ma Rainey. Give it up to Viola Davis. This woman is a walking force. I'm telling you. But overall, I like the play. And of course, it got into the black experience in American society, dealing with music, black culture, exploitation, racism, all those things, and the continuing living and the lives of black people, young and seasoned, as far as seasoned being Ma Rainey and the character that Chadwick played, being the young one, and them trying to navigate through this world to, at the end of the day, still try to make a life for themselves, and how those things conflict and further the story along. So, what else? It was also interesting about Ma Rainey's sexuality. That's the thing that bugged me out. And this time, it was real. This story was real as far as how Ma Rainey got down back in the 1920s. Ma Rainey is a singer back in the day. And sure enough, I read an article, and there was some lyrics of Ma Rainey back in the day that she had some proclivities to jump to the other side. So, hey, man, that's what it is. And, before people say they're trying to we go into conspiracy theories where they're trying to kind of taint the stories of historical figures. Listen, especially when it comes to if you're homosexual or gay, this is how I take it. The reason why it's important to share those type of stories with the audience is because all of a sudden they want to just put out gay this, gay that. And I'm like, think about it. Back in the 1920s and on, it was taboo, and you can literally lose your life if you came out as gay. So it's not that the fact that people are trying to force homosexuality down your throats. It's the fact that this always existed. They just didn't have the luxury or the opportunity or the open-mindedness at the time to kind of understand that gay people exist. So I don't think, as far as gay people back in the 1920s or before, those numbers are any different today. They just couldn't do it. They couldn't voice who they were. So they lived in a prison. They were a walking, talking, living prison that they had to live an entire new life to people in their world. Can you imagine that? Knowing this is who you are, and you finally accept it within yourself, and then you still can't tell people who you are, because that could lead to you being ostracized, made fun of, and to, in worst case scenario, get killed. So, you don't want to shy away from those stories, because that's real life, man. That's what it is to be an artist. When you're a director, when you're a screenwriter, when you're an actor, you want to give that raw and uncut and show people the truth. and then allow them to receive that information how they want to receive it. I think you do an injustice to a film when you can't show those parts of people's lives. And it's partly a lie, because you don't really fully accept who people are as human beings. In all the complexities and all the layers that human beings are, these are the things that force them to make choices, the hard choices, in the way they want their lives to be. And we never really fully understand it because we don't fully accept people in all that they are. So that was interesting to watch that. That was interesting to watch that. As far as that goes. So yeah, in the end, what was my dislike before we get out of here? My dislike for that I did for Ma Rainey was I wish I saw a little bit more of Viola Davis. Because I was like, this is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but I felt like some of the movie leaned towards the band in the basement, waiting for Ma Rainey. And then when Ma Rainey finally shows up, there's the reactions of the band to Ma Rainey's behavior. So I'm like, well, if this is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, are we not going to get into different parts of her life, however her story went down? We're not going to. So, it's hard for me because, I want to see Chadwick and the other characters do their thing. But I know the title of this play turned into this, Netflix movie was about Ma Rainey. So, and I wanted to see Viola Davis really kind of flex her muscle in this character in the way that she does with every character that's presented to her. I wanted to see Viola Davis really get into the underbelly, like down to the bone of Ma Rainey, and she did in the parts that she has. I just wish I saw more of her. That was my only thing that I disliked about the movie. Not that I disliked the whole movie. I liked it in its entirety, but that was just one of the things. I'm like, well, isn't this? And that's what I thought as I was watching this movie. I'm like, I want to see Viola. Yeah. So, all right. So we're gonna get out of here. I know that was a long segment. Let's go into the other two artists that we have. We're going to go into Eric Biddines. This dude is dope. His song is Cry. He's coming out of Florida. He's doing his thing, man. And I really dig the song that he's got going. And right after Eric Biddines, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, we're going to get into Stephanie Wango with the song What Now? So yeah, so let's listen to Eric Biddines, his brother Cry, and Stephanie Wango with What Now? Hopefully you like these two songs. All right, I'll be back.
So we just
I done seen love, I done seen hate, seen my father, ashes in the face. All of these years, all of these days, who am I to have all if I wait? As bad as you can. Tears fall every day, so we just cry. You can cry just as bad as you can. Tears fall every day, all in my mind, all in my brain. Tired of running from all my mistakes. Looking for a hug, looking for a break. Soon as things stirred up, fall on my face. So we just
Ooh, a GCOM exclusive.
I cry every day, so I just cry. You can cry just as bad as you can. Tears fall every day.
Woke up from sleeping, eternal notes in my journal. No pajamas, not even demons can touch my dermal. The Lord done text me plenty times. I still replied, why you hit me when so many died? He stopped me in my lies. Ain't no intervening when I gave you free thought. Your decision up to you, so son, what you be about? Then tears fell. We let our people down for real here. How dare I blame you when I never cared? Embarrassed, so I
cry. You can cry just as bad as you can. Tears fall every day, so we just cry. You can cry just as bad as you can. Tears fall every day.
You know what you're rocking to?
rockin' with the best.
Only the best. GCOM Radio.
Remember the days you would pick me up late, then as if I ate, and I would say yeah. In the need of a plate, but still look on your face. But seeing you right here, but feeling you right there. This feeling you not here, just feels unfamiliar. For a minute I just told you, but no one else made me feel alive. I'll admit it, I tried it. You know your love's on a million, and so I right back here. You know I'm done front. It's you that I want. I just need you. What can we do now? Just to get to when it was just me and you. Wishing we could. So what can we do now? Just to get to when it was just me and you. Wishing we could. Thinking we should. Let's hop on a plane. Let's just get away. A couple of days. All of the pain. Just get away. Let's hop on a plane. Let's just get away. A couple of days. Said I'll take it away. Let's just get away from here. What can we do now? Just to get to when it was just me and you. Wishing we could. So what can we do now? Just to get to when it was just me and you. What can we do? Wishing we could. Thinking we should. Do you think we could get back to when it was good?
Yeah, that was Eric Biddines with Cry. And right behind his brother was Stephanie Wango with her song What Now? Dopeness, man. Dopeness, what y'all thought? I loved it. I love the rhythm. I love the sound. I love how they present. That's what's up. That's what we do here on GCOM Radio, man. We play good music. And yo, they and let you know, I love the music so much that I don't get paid for it. Yeah, they demonetize me on platforms because it's a copyright problem, and they're like, well, you can play it. Like for instance, YouTube, I can't really do it, but it's neither here nor there because I'm also a founder of Lyfeblood.com, and you can actually go into my account, my profile on Lyfeblood.com, which is a social media platform that encourages people to fulfill their passions, and they're going to do that through dollar power. People give $1 per month to help people do what they want to do. So I don't mind that they say they demonetize me because it's copyright infringement. I don't care. I think that other artists should have an opportunity to be heard.
You don't get to, you don't get to hear that on major radio, and there's no other place where I can listen to music that to hear other sounds, man. I mean, you have Apple, and they have Ebro that he has his own thing on Apple Music, and that's dope too. But there's got to be more. And I personally think that major corporations shouldn't own like 100 radio stations, because where you have an issue with this one company, then all of a sudden you're kind of excommunicated across the land of the United States. So all other portals, music portals, especially online. So I play music of indie artists. I support them in any way by playing it, by talking about them. And yeah, that's what I do. Even if I demonetize it, I don't care. Here's an opportunity for you can knock on my door and say, hey, could you play this song? And if it's dope and it's real and it ain't no money, it's not like pay for play. If it gets me going, I'll play it. So that's what's up. So all right, let's get into not business of the week. I'm sorry. News you need to know. Yeah, let's get into news you need to know. Let's wrap this up. All right, we'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, around the world and right in your neighborhood, it's the news you need to know.
Attorney General Letitia James sues the NYPD. Attorney General Letitia James is filing a lawsuit against the NYPD for excessive force used against New York protesters over the summer from the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. AG James says, there is no question that the NYPD engaged in a pattern of excessive, brutal, and unlawful force against peaceful protesters. Ms. James continues, over the past few months, the NYPD has repeatedly and blatantly violated the rights of New Yorkers, inflicting significant physical and psychological harm and leading to great distrust in law enforcement. The lawsuit accuses Mayor Bill de Blasio, NYPD Commissioner Dermot Shea, and Police Chief Terrence Monahan for the use of force and false arrests against peaceful protesters in violation of the First, Fourth, and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution. In response to this, Mayor de Blasio released a statement planning to reform the department from aggressive, abusive methods and behavior. Apple plans on foldable iPhones. Apple is working on a foldable iPhone, and it has begun with prototypes at their R&D spaces. At this point, Apple is just working on the screens, and an actual device is still years away. The foldable screen will be made with an invisible hinge that could unfold to the size of an iPhone 12 Pro Max. Apple hasn't made any public statements regarding the interests of foldable phones, but as we all know, Apple keeps their interests private up until the very last moment. So far, Samsung and Motorola has already released multiple generations of foldable phones themselves. In 2021, Apple plans to have updates such as an in-screen fingerprint sensor, considering the use of iPhone users' COVID face masks that obstruct identification. Also, Apple is thinking about removing the Lightning port for wireless charging to some of their models. As for the foldable iPhone design, we'll see how Apple further improves the technology for their loyal iPhone users. And that is the news you need to know. Yeah, okay, man. Let's get into this last segment, and then we'll finish this up and we'll get up out of here. All right, so the last segment. So I saw this online, and I actually this got my head turning. I had this next idea for this segment of the show, and I thought, wait a second, I thought it'll be a great opportunity just to talk about it a little bit, get you talking with your own people. So there was an article that was put out saying that some people in Congress, let me go to this article right now, and it's kind of pushed forward by Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts. He thinks the struggling Americans need more cash to weather the ongoing pandemic, and they do. And I say this because it was great to get the first $1,200 check, right? People got the $1,200, but you know what? That thing disappeared with the quickness. And then, and then Mitch McConnell, oh, I love him, man. I would love to sit down with this guy. So Mitch McConnell was like, you know, that freaking thing expired. The stimulus package expired. People got their $1,200 and the extra $600 on top of the unemployment insurance. That dried up, and it's finally now that they're getting to it. So initially, Mitch McConnell, the grand individual that he is, says that they just gonna do 600, half of what you were getting before. Half. I'm like, God damn, bro. People getting peanuts? The $1,200 disappeared mad quick in the first time around. That was $1,200. And here we are at the end of the year talking about the next stimulus package, and you want to give less. Yo, that's disrespectful. Man, disrespectful. But I remembered at the time, Mitch McConnell was like, well, you know, how are we going to get people back to work? They're not going back to work. Well, you know, that was kind of, true. Some people was like, wait a second. If I'm making X amount at this particular job that I hate, if I get laid off and I get paid like $100 less, I don't need to worry about going back to this corny ass job. Yeah, some people didn't go back to work. Some people did not go back to work because most of the jobs that people do is not what they love, is what they have to do because they got bills, they got families, they got to keep the lights on, all that stuff, all that things that comes with living in the United States of America. So, you know, they got to do jobs that they don't like. They got to deal with asshole bosses. They got to deal with people they don't want to work with. It's just what it is. If you give an opportunity for people to figure out what they want to do with the next 20, 25 years of their life, people will figure it out. So Mitch McConnell said that he was like, man, people want to stay home. And, you know, and the thing is, it's not like this thing was going to be forever. The package was, we all knew it was going to expire in like July, something like that. So we all knew it's not like it was going to be forever, but that's what it was. And I think during this COVID-19, this pandemic that we're going through, maybe you should do something as a monthly stipend or fee or whatever to keep people from going outside, to keep businesses going, right? Maybe that's a thought. I'm just saying. I never agreed with the PPP loans. I never agreed with that. And for one reason, it's because a lot of businesses are already in debt to operate the business. I said this on the show before. If you have $100,000 that you're in the hole with in order to get your business going, you have employees in your store, you're selling your product, you got to pay back this loan. You got to pay back this money. COVID all of a sudden comes out of nowhere. It destroys the economic system because people have to stay home. People can't feed themselves. Some jobs continued because they were considered essential, but that has nothing to do with the millions of other people that can't work because of COVID. So what you want to do, and then not on top of that, they told businesses they can't go to full capacity, which makes sense because you're trying to retard the growth or spread of COVID-19. So businesses couldn't even operate at full capacity. How are you supposed to operate at 15, 20% capacity? Every person has to fill that seat in your restaurant in order for you to pay your people and to pay your bills. So now you've been dropped down to 15%. Now these PPP loans come out saying they want to help the American business further, right? So the problem that happened with that, a lot of the bigger corporations stuck their hand out and stopped it from trickling down to the small businesses. Okay? And they didn't even need it. That's number one. Number two, as far as the PPE loans, which should have been number one, is the fact that it was a loan. People are already $100,000 in debt. All of a sudden, you're going to give them a PPP loan to maintain their businesses, and they're going to stack another $20,000 on top of the $100,000. People don't need that. People don't need more debt. They don't need more loans. They just need some financial assistance to carry them through this COVID-19 time period. So that was my initial feeling about that whole thing. I'm like, I don't know. So now here we go. They're talking about doing a $2,000 per month deal. And actually, they're thinking about doing it retroactively. So whatever you didn't get, say at the start of this COVID, they want to pay. I don't think that's going to happen, that retroactive thing. But I think it's more realistic, probably, I don't know, to do $2,000. Probably. to see how it can figure out, right? But people need a little bit something. It's great that people are going to get, like, they're talking about they want to add another $1,400 to make it $2,000 from the $600 that you got before. Some people are kind of resisting that because they're like saying, wait a second, that's not $2,000. Just make it $2,000. It's a separate deal altogether. But that's where it comes with the haggling, right? What do you think? Do you have a problem with it? I think it would be a problem. A lot of people will resist it. I think a lot of people will resist it. Why? I think the credit card companies would resist it. Because they're saying when you have an economic system that's constricting and you give them money, people are not going to spend money out in the stores and put it back into the market, into the economy. And during these times, people either save it or they pay towards debt. I think credit card companies would have a problem with that. Because credit card companies make money off of what? Debts. We live in a debt-based society. Debt is what runs this economic system. Without it, the economy shudders. A certain amount of debt is needed for many to keep the economy going and growing. So I think there would be kind of resistance from that sector. Like, wait a second. Because people are going to use that to pay towards down their debt. They don't want to be in debt. I'm like, man, I'm getting all this money. So I think that could be a problem. And then the other scenario is people could buy, that money could be put back into the market. People will buy TVs. They will say, hey, man, I could save this money to get a car, electronic devices, such and so forth. So, I mean, that's the other side of the argument. But what do you think about getting $2,000? And it kind of segues into kind of UBI, Universal Basic Income, which I am a believer in. And I'm with the Universal Basic Income, because of the inevitability of what's coming to us as we advance in our technology. But for right now, it's funny how COVID-19 is kind of like opening the conversation about that. Because if we plan to give people $2,000 per month, each person, that's mother, father, child, and then multiply it by the amount of children you have in your home, you're going to pay people this amount per month if this something actually happens. There's going to be big resistance on that. Can that work? Can that work? And that conversation would lead into UBI. Because if you actually pass a bill for a short period of time, like say 6 months, 8 months, of people getting $2,000 a month, then that opens the door to talk about UBI. Maybe something down the line in the next 10 years. It's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. Now, it's funny that I actually, it's something related. I went to my Twitter account, and people can find me on Twitter at Lyfeblood, Lyfeblood. And I kind of had an interesting take on this. Not in regards to the stimulus, but as far as dealing with poverty. And that's essentially what we're dealing with, forced poverty here. But poverty has always been a problem in this country. And I say, my basic thing is, what did I write here? If you could convince shareholders to shave off $1 billion. No, I'm sorry. Let me get this right. All right, so I was saying Walmart, right? It's funny. I'm like, sometimes I don't even know how this goes. All right, so here we go. So Walmart makes, and I do have a line here. I'm sorry, folks. Just deal with me for a second. I'm trying to get the number. I did number this, and I don't see the numbers on here. I don't see the numbers on here. I had this set up before, and then it looks like I'm missing. It looks like I'm missing the number count, because I put, how people put 1, 2, 3, so you can follow the tweets in order. Now the tweets, I can't get the tweets in order. Okay, I think I see it. So I pretty much said Walmart's net income for 2019 was $6.67 billion. Okay. Walmart's net income for 2019 was $6.67 billion. The top shareholders of Walmart are S. Robin Walton, Mark E. Lohr, C. Douglas McMillan, Walton Enterprises LLC, Walton Family Holdings Trust, and Vanguard Group Incorporated. Those are the shareholders. Once a company makes profit, whatever's left over gets split amongst the shareholders. Now, they made a lot of money. Let's get right down to brass tacks. After you deal with expenses, after you deal with overhead, you pay your taxes, everything. Little taxes they do pay, right? So after all of that, you wind up with $6.67 billion. Now, my thing was, okay, if that's what's left over, and that's going to be divvied up amongst the shareholders, what if you could convince the shareholders to shave off at least $1 billion for the development of an underserved community? You could eliminate poverty and still be wealthy. And I say roughly 1/3 of LA, and I got this, and please, folks, challenge me if I'm wrong. I actually say 1/3 of LA people that live in Los Angeles live below the poverty line. They make about $28,000 a year. I mean, would it be able to allocate that $1 billion to help that number? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? And I'm not saying give away money. And I say don't give it in loans. It should be about grants, housing, healthcare costs, schooling, job training. And I say if any of my numbers are wrong, please let me know. But this is what Lyfeblood is going to do. Because once Lyfeblood gets to a point where it is a $1 billion company and is making that amount, how can we take a portion of that and give it back to the people that made Lyfeblood.com a $1 billion entity? So, I went on to say, I'm like, let me see how much these shareholders are worth. The owners of Walmart. S. Robson Walton is worth $63.9 billion. Mark E. Lohr is worth $1 billion plus. C. Douglas McMillan is worth $149 million. Of course, he's a minority owner. The Walton Enterprises LLC, the people that own Walmart, the founders, the original, the family, Jim, the two that primarily goes to, Jim and Alice Walton, is worth more than $88 billion. The Walton Family Holdings Trust is worth $185 billion. The trust, where they put all this money and they just compile it. And Vanguard Group Incorporated, that's another group, a holdings group. They're valued at, guess what? $6 trillion. So my thing is, do you think that they would have the opportunity to think about it for a while and see if $1 billion would hurt them if that money was allocated to fighting poverty in one city? What do you think? You think they can afford it? You think that $1 billion would affect them that much? They're still millionaires and billionaires. And I said, finally, I would love to sit down as Lyfeblood representative, the founder. I'd love to sit down with these folks and these business entities and have an honest one-on-one talk about how you can fix the problem of poverty. Walmart is not going anywhere. It will continue to chug along and make billions. Matter of fact, that was 2019. In 2020, they went up crazily, of course, because of COVID and people are ordering online. They have nothing else to do but to buy. So their earnings went up like crazily. I don't have it in front of me, but they even made more money in 2020. I think what we can do here during this time of COVID-19, that there should be a partnership between the private sector and the public sector, and we can figure out an answer to how we can get people on their feet during COVID. And not just for COVID, but maybe, just maybe, it's a thought, just maybe, they can do something about universal basic income. That people can have a living, a high quality of life with UBI invested into them. What do you think? The more we mechanize, the more we automate, the more we use an artificial intelligence, the more we become, we further globalization, outsource things. It's an inevitability what we're dealing with here. And COVID, excuse me, I'm sorry, I ate before I did this show, so I'm burping a little bit, my bad. COVID opened the door for that conversation. What do you think? You think we could do that? Rich folks, they're not going anywhere. So what if? And I said that on even Twitter. I was like, you know what? If I make $1 billion, $2 billion, and out of that, I'm saying net now, net. Would I be willing to give $100 million to a particular fund, a business fund? Sure. To deal with poverty? Sure, why not? And you don't have to give it away like they always say, oh, it's socialism. Oh my God. We're just supposed to give away our money, huh? All our hard work and hard money. Our hard working money. We're just supposed to, no. You could give it where people could stand on their own feet. People just need access. People need access to money, to funds to do what they want, to live their lives in the way that they should. And this society, this capitalistic society, can still turn. Those gears can still turn. Now, it's funny. The ironic thing is, it's not people that is for everything that I say. It's not people and what they choose to do in their personal lives would crash this economy. You know who's going to crash the economy? Rich people. As we always said, because they're gonna deal with technologies that's only gonna make their profit margins wider. And at the same time, simultaneously, it's going to destabilize our economy and people's lives because now things are automated. So they will be the culprits of a disintegration of society. Not the people making a choice getting UBI or getting some kind of check from COVID. So you really got to check that, man. What do you think? Okay, I'll leave it at that. All right, I'm going to get out of here, folks. Thank you for listening to me go on and trip over my words and, talk about nonsense and all that. Man, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's something wrong with me, man. I'm not that intelligent. I never professed myself to be the smartest person in the room. I never professed myself to be, loaded with MBAs and masters and double masters and PhDs and all that. Hey, man, I'm just an everyday average guy just with an idea. What do you think? All right. So I encourage people, go to Lyfeblood.com. Lyfeblood is still there. Lyfeblood is a social media site that encourages people to fulfill their passions. And the way we're going to do that is by funding each other. We're going to decentralize the idea of how money is transferred, person to person. I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but I want you to have courage to fund yourself. Now, for instance, I go to New York Times. I read New York Times sometimes. But now they lock me out. They have a paywall. You know what the paywall is? $1. $1. I think it's actually $1.99. But all they're asking for people to read, to share this information that they're providing you, the New York Times, they're asking people for $1.99 a month. Look at that. What does that sound like to you? That sounds like dollar power, doesn't it? And it's just not the New York Times doing it. But instead of you giving it to one single source, decentralize that concept and give it to each other on a lateral level. And if a video goes viral, whatever you do in ways of TikTok or whatever, now all of a sudden you asking people for $1. Imagine that, 250,000 people giving you $1 for that 1 month. And then let's say you shrink that number to 10% of that. And you get
you're walking away with $7,000, $8,000 a month because you're steadily giving them content. We have to figure out our problems. Now, it just doesn't have to be on an individual level. It could even be for a specific cause that you want to do. When it comes to the environment, when it comes to farming, vertical farming, new technology, new inventions, you want to start a business, whatever. It has to be, we have to give it to each other, and we have to trust in each other. Well, no, but how are we going to make sure that people are not trying to scam us? You'll see it every day. We know who's the scammers and who's not on IG, on Facebook, because they share their pictures, their personal lives, their professional lives, their families. They're walking the garbage down to the street. You know who's who. So you're not going to give it to somebody that is going to do a get-rich-quick scheme, and they're going to do like an infomercial. Well, all you have to do is give me this. So I'll give you the great marketing ideas, how you could do just like what I do. No. People are going to be there doing exactly the same thing they always do. If you really like what they do, give them $1. Now, if I really wanted to go the way of New York Times and all the other, I would spend in total, there's only about 18 to 20. And really, 18 to 20 probably portals, online publications is doing that. And it's the same thing you would do for your folk, right? You don't have to give away $200. You could just give away like $20, $25, $50. That's nothing. We spend that with garbage. I literally right now, I was like, all right, I would be willing to, instead of me giving it to some company $25.99 a month, whatever that it is, I can take that same $25.99 and split it amongst 25 people that I really dig. Here's $1, $1.20, $1.30. And let them live a life that they want to live. And if I could see them make those motions, improve their lives through what I can give them on a micro level, yes. So I'm not a social media site that does I'll keep it real, Clubhouse. Everybody's on Clubhouse. All you're doing is talking. That's all you're doing. You're talking, you're getting wild, you're saying crazy wild things, you're shock jocking. You some information is good, don't get me wrong. That could be on Clubhouse, but you're just talking. You could do that on Twitter. You could do that on Zoom. All they said is, instead of it being video, we're gonna give you audio. Clubhouse ain't doing nothing special. So I'm not gonna go that way. That's not what Lyfeblood is about. Lyfeblood is about making change. And when we develop a decentralized economy, we could put that money towards things that are going to go for the benefit of the people, not just here in America, but around the world. So, all right, everybody knows what that's my Lyfeblood.com, because it's January 2021. You know what I mean? So anyway, all right, let me get out of here, folks. I appreciate building with you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Love you, all of you that listen to the show. So I'm out. All right, peace.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.